Hola, Oli, Pop Rock Radio. Estás escuchando Jamie Roxx de Pop Rock Radio. Manténganse al tanto.
Hej, det här är Hits från Sverige och vi lyssnar till Pop Rock Radio med Jamie Roxx.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is the Pop Roxx Radio Talk Show. I'm your host, pop art painter Jamie Roxx, and this is the big show. You found it. I sure am glad you did. As are our advertisers. Remember, I'm not going to be one of those lame YouTube people that tell you to like and subscribe before you even watch what the hell you're watching. Keep it in mind after you've watched it, and if you feel that's something you might want to do, cool. But no, advertising, very important. A lot of advertisers these days, they've changed. They used to have a space with a code where you could save some money. Nobody's doing that anymore. But they do have a space where how'd you hear about it? Just put in Roxx, Roxx, or the guy with the hair who has the cool guests. So that'll probably get the whole thing is they need to know where to send the check. And we certainly appreciate that. So there you go. Anyhow, I am super excited. We've always got really good guests on, but tonight, somebody whose talent just blows me away. The fine folks over at Trend PR sent over his press kit and everything to me and said, hey, would you like? And I'm like, checked it out. I'm like, hell yes. It's just fantastic. He's fantastic. And I'm at that age where I love seeing something new that I haven't seen 87 times before. It's just, if you're not there already, kids, believe me, you will get to that point. It's insane. And he fits that bill there. I was just it's so fresh, so cool, and it's just cool. That's with a capital C, man. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our guest tonight, Geepers. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Jeepers Creepers. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it. That's very, very kind words. That's very nice of you.
It's very true.
Thank you.
You hit the mark on so many things as far as, and I get it, you're young, you've grown up with social media and whatnot, and having an awareness of branding. Mm-hmm. And people did before, like in my generation, we just didn't have a name for it. We didn't know what to call it.
Sure.
Our image. But image isn't just what you look like. Brand follows through the whole gamut.
Absolutely.
And you're really, really good at that. You know?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And any young bands out there or any new band music, I don't care what you are. If you're baking bread, I don't care. Get your little pad of paper out. When you find somebody who's doing something well, here's a secret for success. Write that shit down.
Branding,
ask yourself,
yeah,
this guy's kicking ass. What is he doing that I could do in a similar way for whatever I'm doing?
Sure. Now, I would like to say that's my marketing degree coming through, but I didn't pay attention in any of those classes.
I got that.
Yeah.
But I think just from osmosis, some stuff seeped in because you're really good at it.
Now, I appreciate that. That's very kind.
We were talking before the show off mic, as they say.
Off mic, exactly. Off mic on camera.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. About growing up and whatnot. You grew up East Coast fella, and now you're LA based.
Mm-hmm. Just recently, back in August of 2024. Brand new.
Now, that's quite the culture shift. You know, one of the great things, we don't have lake effect snow, but I'm sorry about the fire tornadoes and shit that just passed. Jeez.
Thank you. I know. I appreciate that. I'm happy and lucky to be safe.
Have you been through an earthquake yet?
No, actually, or at least not one significant enough that I've noticed it.
I gotcha. That's usually how it goes. They'll happen at night, and you just don't even wait. You don't even know about it.
Right. So I may have been here for one, but nothing that notified me.
Crazy. Yeah, it's a weird world, man. It's a weird world. So you got out to LA, and now let me ask you this: when you were a young lad, did you think that pop star was in the future?
Not at all.
Was that a goal? You were always into music?
Well, I've always been into music my whole life. My mom is a piano teacher and a church organist. And my dad was a music composition major in college, and he also does some production himself. But I taught myself a few instruments. I taught myself piano because my mom was always a little too tired to teach me how to
Right.
teach me after her day
And
of teaching piano.
you weren't giving her it,
I
so
wasn't giving her a check, right? And so I don't blame her, but I was lucky enough to have a piano to practice on, to try. And then in school, I played the cello, which I did not continue doing, but it did help me learn how to play the bass guitar because they're sort of the same.
right.
And then I played those instruments throughout middle school, high school, elementary school. I was a theater kid in high school. It wasn't something that I did, or it was something I did significantly, but it wasn't something that I had a huge passion for.
I got you.
But
That's good.
then,
That's good
yeah,
because, folks, if you can figure out, everybody always tells you when you're young, figure out what the hell you want to do. And so you can kind of guide your courses, your schooling, your activities towards that. I will counter equally as important, figure out what the hell you don't want to do. So you can guide your schooling
ain't that
activities
the
and,
truth?
you
Yeah,
know,
it's easier to steer away from things you don't like than find the things you do.
and you don't want to be 45 figuring that shit out, you
Ain't that
know?
the truth? Yeah,
I've known
absolutely.
people. I've known people.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, and but that's cool. That's cool. So
Yeah.
you continued on.
I sure did. And then in the summer of 2020, the big COVID year, I would be going into my freshman year of college while I was just at home not doing very much. I downloaded GarageBand on my phone
Hmm.
and played around with it. There was a song by Peach Pit called Black Licorice that I loved. And I just tried to sort of recreate it, see what I could do, and sort of caught a spark. And then started watching YouTube videos, started taking classes at my college when I finally got there, and got into a few classes with the head of the music department at the school, Professor James Bond, and he was incredibly helpful in helping keep that spark going because he was somebody who a few years prior had just redeveloped the music program at the school that I
Mm,
went to at Stonehill College into a music like bedroom production
nice.
like
Nice.
coursework load, and it was all of the things, the spark for it, his help just kept going years and years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
remember being a kid. No, I'm an old man and up in Metro Detroit, and
Hmm.
this was the 80s. And I remember when the techno scene first happened. All of my
Hmm.
friends were. I always grew up. I didn't hang out with any art people. I didn't know
Okay.
any. I was the only one. But
Sure.
I always hung out with musicians because they usually had a lot of girls that hung out with them at their parties, and
That's right.
they were cool. They were fun to hang out with, and I got a lot of good ideas from them.
Hmm.
But I remember when the techno scene first hit, everybody switched over. Suddenly, nobody was getting hiring rock drummers.
Hmm.
The 808 came out, and it changed everything. And
Sure did.
you didn't have to pay somebody
Hmm.
because you bought that, and that was
Yep.
your cost,
I
and then
know.
you had
And
unlimited drum
relatively
tracks.
cheap too, which was a nice,
Yeah,
maybe the key factor to its success.
absolutely. Everybody, it was so new. I had a friend of mine who was in a rock band, but
Yeah.
he was sick of his bandmate. He wanted to just do his own thing, is
Yeah.
what
Right.
happened.
Yeah. I'm sure.
And he called me up and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "let's hit the pawn shops this Saturday because I need to find me
Hmm.
a drum machine." And I'm like,
Yep.
"Yeah, okay, we can go look. I don't know if there's going to be any. This is
Hmm.
new stuff. I don't think
Yeah.
it's filtered yet."
Sure.
And he goes, "It might have. Somebody might have been in a spot." And I said, "Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's go." There wasn't any at that time, but
Yeah.
and it was weird too because all the keyboards I remember, the synthesizers,
Hmm.
um, were, and I didn't know this, but I was hanging out with some musicians and whatnot, and they're like, "Hey, look at this new synthesizer I got," and
Hmm.
it looked like a piece of a stereo component system. I'm like, well, "Where are the keys and all?" And he
I
goes, "Oh,
know.
no, no, you
Yeah.
plug your
Connect it. Yeah.
keyboard
It's a
into that.
patchwork.
This
Yep.
is what does all the thinking and make
Patchwork synthesis.
sound."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and he paid like, I don't know, $3,000 for that
yeah.
thing.
Those were not so cheap.
No, and I didn't even ask where he got the money, but
Yeah.
yeah, he was the coolest. His
That's awesome.
new project was like, oh, our local Depeche Mode here. It was amazing.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's very cool.
And then fast forward, I remember when I was in college, all the music kids that I knew were Aphex Twin had just hit
Yep.
and
There you go.
sampling. and
Yep.
and not sampling like everybody thinks when they think sampling that aren't in the music business or whatnot or that scene. They think, oh, well, they just take a piece of somebody else's song. These cats in England, it's kind of, I think it was called the jungle scene, was they were taking like, oh, here's the rising orchestra score in Lawrence of Arabia, and we're going to
Yeah.
take that, reverse it, speed it up, and you're
That's
like,
right.
Yeah,
it's unrecognizable.
and there's
Yeah.
47 of those, you know
Yeah,
what I mean,
exactly.
from
Right.
different things. And I remember thinking then, and I'm like, oh man, technology and the internet. This was pre-internet. Like, I think there was an internet that government had, but we didn't have it. Like
Right. Not a public access.
yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't have.
Yeah.
We couldn't afford a computer. Me and my 5 college roommates.
That's
But
right.
yeah, when I moved to California, this is probably very late 90s, early 2000. Napster was a thing. I remember everybody had a computer at home, and then you started seeing. Well, first off, you saw the rise of DJs.
Yep.
Because you didn't need a turntable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You could do stuff in Fruity Loops or whatever.
Yes, I did.
And then I saw the musicians taking these tools and coming up with really amazing stuff, exactly like you've done that. What I mean? And
thank you.
it continues on. And I'm not saying, because you hit a lot of old people like, oh, well, all they're doing is pushing buttons, and you're like, yeah, all Eddie Van Halen did was pluck a string.
Yeah,
I mean,
right, exactly.
It's
Sure.
just a different tool.
Yeah.
And the most, I'm a painter by trade. That's what I've done for 25 years. I paint pictures of shit and sell it. That's how I put food on the table. You have our little podcast, but that's that's the business. And everybody thinks the hard part of that is the ability to paint it. Painting a painting, in my opinion, that's the easy part of it. The hard part is figuring out what to fucking paint. To say, okay, we're going to do this and blah, 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 and figure that out. Painting it, that's just because you've already painted it in your head.
Exactly. Yeah. From a music perspective, of course, I absolutely understand what you mean there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is you come up with these ideas and put it out, and it's we're gonna play your latest single, and we're gonna play one you had out before that I've been playing all week, and I love that track.
I appreciate that.
It is stuck in my head right now, and I saw one of your YouTube shorts earlier today with that was playing in it. It's
doing my
still
best.
in there.
It's still in there. That's crazy. I'm glad it's that catchy. I mean, I hope you don't get annoyed by it, but I'm glad it's catchy enough to do that.
That's good art. That is good art.
Thank you.
That's what makes a Campbell soup can a painting. You know what I mean?
Right. That's true.
It's because it sticks with you. And that's amazing. So you get out to LA and wow, I mean, that's crazy. Were people worried about you? Is your mom and your pop like, holy moly, he's going to get a face tattoo.
Yeah,
he's going to come home
right?
with Post Malone.
That's right. Yeah, me and Post's best friends. My mom has been very supportive of me my whole life. She's a musician by trade too, so she gets it. She understands that sometimes you just have a calling, right? And this was my calling. And I'm very lucky to say that my dad was the one who moved out here with me. So he and I are sort of facing this together. And
you've got somebody.
I have somebody to do it with.
Your own.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I'm very lucky in that way. Yeah.
Meet a gal, and he's like, she's got an Adam's apple. Just know what you're getting into. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. That's another show.
That's right.
I don't know anybody that's ever happened to. It's California, baby.
Right. If there's one place.
Florida's probably Florida. All the girls have OnlyFans. That's
right. Well, that's true of California too. To be fair.
And it's so weird. Speaking of that, in our this isn't a political show by any means, and whatever, but our brilliant government here decided to ban all adult websites and content. I'm like, what are you going to ban Disney next? That's what everybody does here for a living. I can think of 45 people I know.
Right.
And I'm not saying whatever. I don't judge anybody, but I'm just saying they're making that
Their job.
business here.
Well, and it's financial freedom, and why not, right? Like, what, who are you to say that you can't do that for a living?
Exactly. And if they're buying a Lambo, well, you got to register your car based on value here, which
Yeah.
is the weird. California, I think you used to.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh man, when I first moved out there, I got an old Jag. Thought I
Nice.
was cool. Thought I
That
was
is cool.
cool. No, it was terrible. I could put gas in it. It had dual tanks on it. I could put gas in it and watch the fuel needle see it actually move down.
That's not good. That's not
Yeah,
good.
and I'm like, geez. But when I went to register, it was like $1,200 or something, and they're like, "Well, it's the value of the car." I'm like, let's go in. You want to go into the parking lot? That car should be in a junkyard,
right?
Yeah, it's got a fancy name, but I'm sorry, sir, it's our policy.
Yeah.
Vote.
Right.
Thereby.
Yep. Right.
But yeah, I'm saying that they bring money into everything, so they shouldn't mess with them too much.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, so that's cool. So you hooked up. You got in with Trend PR, one of my favorite PR firms out of all. I deal with about 20, and I've never heard a bad thing about them. And they're just so professional. I don't know if you've ever seen the press kit they send out.
Yeah, they showed me the press kit. Yeah,
it's brilliant. Nobody else does that. They're
really?
like, here's the band. I think the lead singer's name's Mike or something like that. And
yeah, Trend is wonderful. Amanda's wonderful. She does a very, very good job.
Like, I'm looking at it right now, and it says, who's going to be on the call? Geepers. And then in parentheses, pronounced Jeppers. He is a solo artist. And I'm like, yeah, I know how it's pronounced, Amanda, but thank you.
What you'd think, but a lot of people, I have to clarify quite often.
Really?
Geepers. I get Geepers a lot.
Jesus Christ.
I know. You'd think it would be clear enough, but oh well.
Man, and I got all these talking points they sent and the artwork. It's fantastic.
They're wonderful. Absolutely.
Yeah, they do a good job. I'll tell you something, a little secret between me and the lamppost.
Okay.
They're the only firm every Christmas I get a Christmas card from them.
Look at that.
I don't
That's
get
so
that
sweet.
from anybody. I send out Christmas cards to everybody who bought a painting the past year,
That's sweet. That's fun.
Yeah, I'm just cost me $12. I mean, it ain't that much.
But it means a lot. No, I understand. Yeah, they're wonderful. I actually came across them. Well, talk about government bands. I came across them on TikTok while I was back home for the holidays for Thanksgiving time, and I saw their content and reached out. I was like, hey, sent them some of my music, and they reached out pretty much immediately. They were like, hey, we would love to represent you, and here we are. So
nice.
Very,
when
very
it went
happy.
down, when TikTok went down, my wife, I'm not on TikTok, and folks, there's not political. I'm an old man. I don't use a phone. My wife's got a phone. If somebody needs to get a hold of me, they can call her. It's kind of and the whole reason I don't use a phone isn't because of the government or any of that. I'm old and I set stuff down and forget where it is. And I rarely buy things on payments. So I went to the phone store. I don't know what they call it, Apple something. And I said, how much for a phone? And they showed them all to me. And I'm like, well, how much is that? It's $1,000. But don't worry, your payment will only be. And I'm like, I don't want payments. I'm just going to buy the thing.
Right. Yeah.
But $1,000 for me to leave somewhere or go through the wash machine or something.
I know, right?
I'm not doing it.
You got to be careful.
Yeah. And I got a voicemail. People can leave me a message. I don't care. And so I don't do TikTok, but I listen to it every night because as me and my wife go to sleep, I have the weirdest dreams. I'm like, why are these people dancing in my dreams? It's weird.
That's funny.
Because she scrolls through.
Sure.
And it comes into my subconscious because I'm hearing it.
Yep.
But anyway, when it went down for the day, if it was even a day, she comes running in. And she's like, you better get a hold of Amanda. And I said, well, what's going on, babe? TikTok's down. And I know all of her people are on TikTok. That's their primary social media.
Yeah.
And I said, damn, I didn't even think about that. I mean, you have a website. I would say And folks, it's probably floating around the screen right now, and there's definitely a clickable link in the description below,
That's right.
along with all the social media and whatnot
Mm-hmm.
of Geeper. I'm kidding.
Of Geepers,
Geepers.
exactly. Feel free to give me a follow if you'd like.
You've got a cool website. I dig your
Thank you.
website.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
it's artsy, but it's not too artsy.
Not too
You know?
artsy. I appreciate graphic design. I took a few classes back in school, and I am okay. I'm no artist by any means, but I sort of know what I'm
Really
doing.
wish I didn't
But
hear you say that, because there's going to be. Well, let me message him on Instagram and
that's
see,
right.
how do I remove the background from this in buying Photoshop.
That's right.
He's like,
With the $70 a month Photoshop,
another subscription thing. It killed
always.
the streaming.
Yeah,
I
I
got
get
rid of
that.
my cable, so I'm like, because I'm flipping
Mm-hmm.
through it, and there's all these Jesus channels and baby channels and shit. I'm like, I don't want
Mm-hmm.
that. Why am I
Sure.
paying for this?
Right.
So I got rid of it. Bought it. We have 4 TVs in our house, and
Mm-hmm.
so I went out and bought 4 Rokus.
Okay.
I said, now we're good. We're all set, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, you got to get
No.
subscriptions for all that shit
Hey,
now.
wouldn't that be nice?
And
Wouldn't that
I'm
be nice?
paying the same amount as I was
Yeah, I'm sure. If
for
not
the
more.
cable.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's subscription. Everybody has a subscription. I mean, I've got a
Mm-hmm.
Patreon, but I don't know. I
I
give
know.
shit.
Well, that's a different sort of thing, in my opinion, because it's the
I didn't
willing
have one for
support.
the longest time.
Unnecessary willing support is different than locked behind.
My wife, she's quite a bit younger than me. She's 15 years younger than me, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have one. I was real reluctant. I'm like, I'm not begging people for. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
She got sick a couple years last year. It was year
Sorry
before
to hear
last.
that. Yeah.
She's all right. She got
Good.
healed up, but it was scary then. And her
Yeah.
sister started a GoFundMe.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
sister and her mom did not tell me we're at a family dinner, and it comes
Mm-hmm.
out, oh well, the GoFundMe is doing it, and I'm like, GoFundMe,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes, yeah, we did that, and I'm like, I've been hanging out with Jeepers or something, because no, my first thought was my brand. I can't
Yeah.
be having a 10 cup out with my brand. I'm trying to sell fancy paintings.
Right.
So I was concerned with that. But anyway,
Sure.
Patreon, I didn't want to do it. And then my
Mm-hmm.
wife knows me, and she knows how to work me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, oftentimes I don't even realize until I think about it later. And this is one of those times, because she had set me down. She goes, really, all Patreon is the VIP section at a club.
That's right.
You pay a little
That's the wording.
something, but
Get a
you
little
get,
extra. Get a little
a
extra.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
once she explained that, I'm like, oh, yeah. And that's, in fact, what we call our patrons.
VIPs. I like that. That's
Yeah,
fun.
because what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, she totally played me on that.
That's
Next
funny.
thing you know,
It's good though. You get support from the people that want to support you. I feel
absolutely.
that way. If people are willing to support you, no point in telling them no.
Hey, speaking of which, so your dad moved out there with you.
Mm-hmm.
How's he digging? No snow and no
That's no.
40 below degree weather.
I think quite well. He grew up in Rochester, so talk about
Oh,
snow.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Whew.
so we're both quite happy about it. Tell you that.
I knew some people from Rochester. Yeah, Rochester. The big thing when I was a kid, if you lived in Rochester, you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to get the job at Kodak. That was the big push. But I
I
don't even
know.
think Kodak's in business anymore.
I don't think it is. I know they sort of shot themselves in the foot when they developed digital cameras and then stuffed it down and made sure
Mm-hmm.
nobody could develop it, and then somebody else did.
Did you know
They
that's going
tried.
to happen?
Of course it is, right? They were.
It's technology's like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. It's
I keep moving.
yeah. I was at Target with my wife the other day. We walked by and there
Mm-hmm.
was a 70-inch television for $280. I'm like, less than
Fascinating, right? It's
$300.
crazy.
That's
Yeah,
insane for a
insane.
wall TV.
I know.
Uh,
So it was so wild.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But you are really on the forefront. But you have to be for your art, your music.
I have to be. It's true.
I
It's
think
not. It's not something that I particularly have. I would say a passion for. but something
Probably a
that
pain in the ass, I imagine.
exactly. But because at the end of the day, what I love is making and performing music, and it's just one of the aspects of the job that comes with it that I don't love, but I am willing to do in order to keep creating.
Absolutely. One of the things about computers that bugs me is
Hmm.
I feel they're over engineered a little bit,
Sure.
and something won't work on your computer, and it'll take you 5 hours to find one little box
Hmm.
that's buried under. It takes you 17 screens to get to, and you got to untick that box or tick it,
Hmm.
and then everything works great. And
That's
it's
right.
like, you got to figure out
Hmm.
that box though. Watch a lot of
Yep.
YouTube videos. Um,
YouTube's great for that. That's how I learned how to create music,
yeah, absolutely.
produce. Yeah, it's a great website.
I'm telling you. I'm telling
Yeah,
you. And folks, we're gonna utilize Jamie's cough button here. How about that? I don't know if it
perfect.
worked, but we'll see.
I think it
It's
did.
supposed
It did
to.
on my end.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good. I paid a little money for that, but
nice.
trying to be fancy.
That's
Anyway,
right. That's nice.
so let's play a track. Should we
All
start with
right.
the new one?
Yeah, let's start with the new
Lavender?
one. Yeah, let's do
Okay.
it.
So here it is, folks. This is Geepers, and this is Lavender. We're gonna play it, then we're gonna talk about it. And
Oh, I know that every thought is unoriginal, and you think the things I think are quite unthinkable. It's so simple that I never have the right words to say, but just on principle I speak them from my heart anyway. 'Cause you got me aching for the lotion on your skin in the morning, the taste of lavender and coffee when you spilled it in your mocha. You pull away like rubber bands when I get so far away, but even still the taste of lavender, it remains. So let me say, I wanna take your hand and kiss you like I'm mad. We can take it nice and slow, 'cause all I wanna do is take your hand. When I fall asleep at night, it's you inside of my head, and the picture perfect days that we would have in the end. And when I walk that aisle in the Bath and Body Works, the lavender calls out to me first. I wanna take your hand, take your hand and dance with me, dance out, and kiss you like I'm mad. We can take it nice and slow. I wanna take your What do I wanna?
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing, amazing. It's the power of editing. The
Isn't
power
that
of
beautiful?
editing.
Beautiful
I'm
thing.
telling you. Um, Hopefully, we won't talk about a certain African quirks
Hmm.
like creature because that'll screw up
Do
my
our best.
whole
Exactly. That's
church
right.
thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll do my best
everybody
to
at
steer
home
clear.
going, yeah, they're going, what the hell are they talking about? No, they won't say that because I'll edit all this out as well.
Exactly. Perfect.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. The track is Lavender. No, is Lavender out? Because
It is. Yeah. It came out
okay,
just this past Friday on the 24th.
nice, nice.
Brand new.
No, when a track comes out, I imagine there's a lot of watching stats, a lot of refreshing pages and whatnot,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I want on the day of release, I'm always a little. It's some interesting mixed feelings because it's this thing that sort of leaves my control because it's
mm,
something that I created from nothing and has become something that I no longer can do anything about because it's just for everyone else. So it's sort of I struggle with how to feel when a song comes out because I never really feel happy or excited. And I try to let myself feel happy or excited, but I never do. I always just feel a little anxious, but
absolutely.
I take some
Are you
time
a
and then
are you a tinkerer? I am with my
yeah.
paintings, and there'll
Mhm.
come a point when my wife's the boss, Applesauce.
Mhm.
I know when I call her in to the studio, I said, okay, here it is.
Mhm.
And she kind of gives the yay or nay on, or, well, this chin is a mess, or blah blah
Mhm.
blah,
Sure.
and we get it fixed and whatnot. But once she gives the nod of approval, and this isn't like some weird contract we have or anything,
Mhm.
it's just that's when I step away
It's
from
when you
it.
know, right.
Yeah, and I stop. Otherwise, I'll go right before you
Oh,
came on
100%.
camera. I was
Mhm.
looking at this thing and I'm like, "Ooh, I got to fix that," and that's why this
Absolutely.
paint is sitting here. I
Mhm.
and I did.
Mhm.
That will continue
Yes.
until I step away from it. Are you
That
that way with your music?
I into an unfathomable degree. I have a my right monitor right to the right of me has a list of a huge list of notes of things that I need to do exactly that. I am lucky that I have very sensitive ears because it helps me with creating, with mixing. I mix, produce, record. I do everything myself except for the mastering my dad and I do together. My dad a little more so than me, and then I just sort of final touch stuff. And so it takes a lot of intense focus and tinkering to get it to where I want it to be. But then I finally get to a point, usually takes usually after about 2 weeks of hard work. I can generally write a song in about a day, 2 days. But to get it to what I would say is like finished to a tinkering amount is about 2 weeks. And then past that, I try and sit with it for another 2 or 3 weeks and see if anything sticks out. And then past that, I try my best to not find anything else. I often, once I hit go on the distribution website that I use, I just sort of I stop listening to it because I know that I'll find something that won't even be a correct tinker. It will just be a different change that I could have done.
Right, a different
So I
path.
do it exactly, right? Something that is not correct, right? It's just something that I can do. And so I just will tinker forever, but there's no point, right? Like art doesn't need to be perfect and it's perfect art doesn't exist, or if it does, it's not art. So
Right, right. It's yeah,
I
you've moved into design at that point,
exactly.
and that's fine. We're not throwing shade at anybody who does that, but
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely, I get it. Let me ask you this, because I see a lot of equipment behind you and whatnot,
Hmm.
and knowing how your process is. Do
Hmm.
you? I imagine you do a lot of your own production side of
All of
it,
it.
or do you get the track and then go to a big studio with
No,
a
I do
guy
it
with long
all in
hair and a
house.
bunch of buttons and stuff?
That's right. No, all in house, all by myself.
Nice, because
Yeah.
that ain't cheap. That ain't
No,
cheap.
no, it's
Um,
not. And it's something that I'm happy to be able to do, but I also, it's part of my control freak tendency, I think, but also it's something that I've spent a lot of time learning how to do. And I am very proud of my ability. I think it's something that I am particularly good at. We were talking about how I'm not very good at being the, what do you want to call it? I don't
no,
know.
but production's
But
hard. You got to
it
know your
is.
shit.
Sure
You
do.
know,
And that comes, the tinkering comes with that.
and it's so funny because so many inexperienced musicians that I meet and come across and whatnot. There's mythos in our culture on how things. A good one from my world, the artist studio has to be this mishmash, and it's just a mess and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not mine. Mine looks like you could do surgery in here, only because I like to know where things are, because
Yeah,
I don't want to
absolutely. Sure.
waste time hunting something up.
Mm-hmm.
And with your deal, so many of these kids, or I shouldn't say just kids, but new people getting into it,
Mm-hmm.
they have these ideas of, yes, Jim Morrison might have sat around a studio, or the Beatles or whatnot, but you got to remember they had a gazillion dollars,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Yeah,
had a
like
record company
unlimited amount of
that
money,
was paying for
realistically.
that shit.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, oh,
Yeah,
order a pizza, guys. We'll sit here and
yeah.
eat while we
Mm-hmm.
bullshit or smoke a bong or whatever. When the reality is, when you go into the studio, it is like riding in a cab. The
Mm-hmm.
meter is running by the second.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into video production, and all this stuff costs money.
Yeah.
And so, are you going
Yeah.
to throw all your budget into this, or
Mm-hmm.
can you? See, you're ahead of the curve in what
I am in that way.
Jeepers. It's so refreshing because, and I don't say this with any negative connotation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I read your press kit, whatever. I've watched some
Mm-hmm.
videos and this and
Mm-hmm.
that. You seem so laid back and cool, and just, I'm like, well, I
Thank
wonder
you.
where he's going to call in from, on
Yeah.
the deck of some yacht with a bunch of girls walking around.
That's
He
right.
just seems like that guy.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And
I try to
you're
be cool.
hyper focused though
Very
on
much so.
in the business of it. And
Yeah.
I predict. Let me put it this way: if you're a horse, I'd bet on you,
Thank
because
you.
you
That's the
know
Saratoga right there.
there.
Right. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's
Yeah.
this is a
Thank
person
you.
who, when you look at that, you look at, whenever you do any type of business deal, you look at who you're doing the deal with, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and obviously this person knows what the hell they're doing. They can do what they say, and that's rare. That's rare,
Appreciate
especially with
that. That's
a
very nice.
young artist, a new
Thank you.
artist, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Pretty much.
it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
And you did the first thing that so many don't do. You surrounded yourself with a team. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gets it. I tell people all the time, I'm like, I don't care what you're doing. You could be the best quarterback in the world, and you could probably get the ball down the field, but it's going to be rough going if you don't have the rest of the team out there
Ain't that the
and you're
truth?
working.
I'm so lucky. The amazing people at Trend PR are doing wonderful work. Very recently, I just got invited to join Green. If you're heard of Green Tea Studios, they just opened up a distribution service, and I am one of the sort of first artists to be working with them for their
Nice.
distribution service. But at the very core of what I'm doing in art. Oh, I lost you for a second.
Yeah,
Are
but
we
it's fine.
okay?
We'll fix it
Perfect.
in post.
Fix and post.
Jeepers. Yeah, it's all
CGI.
good.
At the very core, I think I am lucky to surround myself. I have a few very, very close, very talented friends who are my musician, my business artist support group. My friend Connor, who is a brilliant businessman, and he does rapping, and he's a brilliant artist. My friend Ben, who is an incredible live player and just knows what he's doing as far as like finding people and reaching out and talking to people. And then my best friend Elijah, who he's the best guitar player I've ever met in my whole life, and he plays some guitar on my upcoming debut album. Not to get into it too much, but
Oh, no.
I
And
yeah,
I've had it in front of me. Snoozing
sure,
is
snoozing.
what
That's
that's.
it.
Yeah.
I am incredibly proud of the work that went into that, and to be friends with these amazing people who have helped me create stuff like this, because without them I couldn't do it, truly.
Like I said, I grew up hanging out with bands and musicians and people in bands. And
Hmm.
usually, in my experience, young bands, there's usually one guy or gal that is the driving force behind the band, making
Yeah.
booking gigs, getting checks in, making sure
Hmm.
everybody rehearses, and everybody else is there to meet girls or whatever, and
Hmm.
being cool and stuff. and I'm not saying that shouldn't happen. I'm just saying there's usually one person. And it sounds to me like Geepers said, okay, that's the way the game is. Let me make friends with all the one guys in their
Mhm.
respective fields and
Mhm.
surround myself with that. I read an autobiography, or it was a biography, not an
Okay.
autobiography, by
Mhm.
David Bowie, and it
Okay.
was just a collection of interviews.
Yeah.
And this is a couple years ago, and somebody had asked him. They said, "Man, you have so many hit songs. I mean, how does that happen?" And he said, "The
Mhm.
secret is when you surround yourself with the best, the results will show that."
Mhm. 100%.
And you know,
Absolutely.
he goes, and he added, he goes, "You get to a point in your life where you're not hiring people that are going to waste time."
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
how do you argue with that? Well,
Yeah. No, I mean that's it. Spot on. That's spot on.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah,
And it
absolutely.
sounds
So
like
I do my best to follow in
when
those
I
footsteps.
when I just looked to verify the name of the new album, Snoozin'. First
Mhm.
off, question on that because I am
Mhm.
selfish and I
Yeah,
want
sure.
to hear more.
Yeah.
Um, and I know Trend PR. Is there a tentative date when that will be dropping?
There is. It's mid-April. Mid-April.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is expect Jeepers to be back on the show
I hope to
around
be.
then. You know,
That's right. Yeah, I
absolutely.
hope to be.
I love hanging out with people that get it in
Mhm.
whatever it is they're doing. It's
Absolutely.
refreshing to me.
There's it's so nice to talk to people with passion.
Yeah, yeah, and that understand what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Um, Now, when I looked at that, I also saw, because again, Trend PR is
Mhm.
awesome. They sent a
Mhm.
little thing of talking points, and
Okay.
right underneath that talking point is, and we just played Lavender. This
Mhm.
energetic and playful love song centers around the subject of his partner's lotion fragrance.
That's right.
That's where the inspiration came from,
It
eh?
sure was. Yeah, the sort of what this song is about at its core is that I often struggle with letting myself write about like the things that I've heard so much. Like a love song, I don't write very many. Most of my songs I write are about some of my anxieties
Mm,
and inadequacies that I see in myself because I feel like that is what worth putting out there and it helps me. It's therapeutic for me. So that's what I do. However, I wanted to write a love song and I didn't really have anything original to say because what is there original to say? Which is sort of what the song's about. But then I sort of landed on I just was next to my partner one morning and thought of, like I was like, oh, that's a really nice lavender
mhm.
lotion scent. And that I was like, what? There is a good idea. There's something that I can sort of focus on that is original, but also the song sort of focuses on the fact that I don't have anything original to say, but just to love anyway.
I get you. I get it. And
Yeah.
it's brilliant because, dude, that's a better track to play at a wedding reception, ladies and gentlemen, than The Police's Every Breath You Take. Don't play that at your wedding reception.
The
That is
stalker
not a
song.
love song.
No, it's
No.
not. No,
Jesus.
I know.
Um, when I was listening to the track the other day, my wife, she's got a crazy job. She works at a chain of a retail chain that sells cosmetics. That
Okay.
I don't want to say it on the air, but
Sure.
think Orange, ladies and gentlemen. Think Orange, and it's in a lot of strip malls.
Yep.
Anyhow, she runs one of those or works at one of these places, and
Hmm.
so she worked a double. Somebody got sick,
Hmm.
and so she comes home and she asks me. She goes, "Hey, do you have a plastic tub or something, a bin?" She goes, "I really want to put some Epsom salts in some water, soak my feet a
Hmm.
little bit." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure I got something." So I came in here and found a box first, moved all the extra paint I had in this plastic tub into the cardboard box. Here you go,
Hmm.
dear. Well, see if this will work. And it
Hmm.
did. And so then afterwards, after she had done that, she was all happy.
Hmm.
We were hanging out. We were getting ready to go to bed. And I said, "Here, let me dump this so the cat doesn't get into it or anything while I'm
Yep.
sleeping.
Sure.
Don't need the cat on bath salts. That would
Yeah.
probably be
Right.
bad."
Not
And
great.
so
I'm sure.
it had she had put some kind of lavender oil or something. I don't know. She's a girl. She does
Hmm.
potions and shit.
That's right.
So I went and dumped this out in the backyard, and man, I got this smell. I was like, that lavender smell hit me. So when I heard your track, when I
Yeah.
was getting ready earlier. It's
Yeah.
like it reminded me of
Of that moment.
that smell. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
like,
I really appreciate a song that is, or any piece of art. I think some of the best is about little intimate moments, something that
mhm.
you don't really otherwise notice. And it's something that I try to incorporate into anything that I'm making. And it's not all, I'm not always the best at it, but that's what this is. And I
let me
appreciate it for that.
let me ask you this: is your partner? Well, first off, they got to know.
Hmm.
They got a track that. How cool is? I'd be walking around with my chest out. I had to buy new
Sure.
hats. My head would be
That's
so big.
right. She should.
Um,
Yeah.
Nobody ever wrote me a song about. Well, if they did,
Yeah.
I don't know about it. And ladies and gentlemen, don't send me the "I hate Jamie." I didn't
I hate
never
you.
heard
Yeah.
it.
Well, if you have anything you want me to write a song about, you just let me know. I'll try and fit it in.
In my younger days, man, I had a PhD in pissing women off. I took me a long time to figure that shit out. I finally did though.
Good for you. Good for
I
you.
didn't. I not only did I course correct the sailboats, I just did a 180.
There you go.
That's what was needed.
Nice. That's right.
Um,
That's funny.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But now, number one, they have a track written about them and whatnot. That's got to be a cool feeling.
I hope
They were
so.
probably surprised. And now, are they in the business as well, in entertainment? In
No,
some
she does
form?
neuroscience.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Not at all.
interesting. Geez, what I
Very
mean?
different, right? Yeah, sure.
Oh man, you meet her out in Boston?
Yeah, college.
Yeah, where did she go? Tufts, or she was one of those?
Wait, no, with me, Stonehill.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
we met at
nice,
college. Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Well,
man.
a doctor in the fam.
Hmm.
Well, that's the next 6 albums. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. No, that's
Just
cool.
from the recording studio. Yeah.
But you have to know your shit. I mean, yeah, I got a master's in art history, but
Hmm.
it's fucking art. They call it an MFA,
Hmm.
which really
Yeah.
stands for
Master of Fine Art.
Masters of Effing Around. That's
That's right. That's right.
that's the reality.
Yeah.
But yeah, neuroscience. Jeez, Louise, that
Hmm.
holy moly. Well, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. And obviously supportive of your endeavors and whatnot.
Hmm. Hmm.
So she moved out there also, or she
No,
already
no, she's
making
still in
moves?
school.
Oh, she's still back east.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I just graduated in May, so I'm a recent grad.
I gotcha. I
Brand
gotcha.
new. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing to do.
Hmm.
But it's not so bad because we live in me and you are sitting here shooting the shit and stuff,
Hmm.
and we're 3,000 miles apart, and we're
Right.
doing
It's
it's
not that hard.
different.
It's true.
This ain't the Civil War.
Yeah.
My
It's true.
dearest Isabel,
Exactly.
the weather was mighty warm today.
I'm
Um,
coming down with a sickness.
that's right. I had to saw my leg off the other day.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, thank God those people made it through that. Thinking about that during the pandemic, because
Mhm.
everybody's like, the U.S., you kept seeing it. The last time this happened was 1918. And I'm like,
Mhm.
man, that's pre Netflix. What were people just reading books by candlelight? And
Who even knows? I know.
jeez.
1918, any electricity? I don't think so. Not too much.
And then you outlawed drinking on top of that? What the hell were you thinking?
Who knows?
Stupid politician.
I know. That's right. That's right. Always trying to do something, aren't they?
I love there was that show a couple years ago on HBO. I loved it. I love these period shows.
Hmm.
Boardwalk Empire, which was New Jersey and all the underworld gangster stuff. And
Interesting. I
it
haven't heard of
starts
that.
out, the show starts out, and it's all these guys, and they're all politicians and corrupt in their little world,
Hmm.
and they're all run gangs and stuff. But
Hmm.
they're cheering because of I think it was in the 19th Amendment, where they outlawed booze. And
Hmm.
they're like, those idiots have just made us so much money. You don't,
Right. Right.
they were so happy.
Uh-huh.
Um, and they did. They created
Yeah.
that whole world.
Right. Roaring 20s right there.
I'm telling
So
you.
yeah, they did something. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know if it was right, but
No, it was
economic
stupid.
boom. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. But that's cool. So another track that I've been playing of yours that I just am in love with. It's a
Mhm.
fantastic track.
Thank you.
And again, the vibe, I've only seen the video for it because the
Hmm.
vibe in this video is, and it's a lyric video. The vibe in a lyric video, who could say that? Um,
Yeah.
but it's the music really that creates it, that
Yeah.
carries it along.
Thank you. Yeah.
But that's where I thought you'd be on a yacht somewhere,
That's
you know, drinking Cristal and
Mhm.
with a whole bunch of cool people. Somebody with an afro would walk by.
That's
It was
right.
just a cool
Exactly.
crowd.
Nope, just in the studio where I made it.
It's a 12-hour shift. I'm sick of working like this. You push me to the limit, oh, oh, and ask for more, oh, oh. I come back again, thinking it'll be different, but one never changes, and the thought of it sickening. Imagine the world comes crashing down. Are you worse off or are you happier now? You're just too much work. Sugar on the limb, but let me in your gin and work. You never pay me overtime, overtime. Work. Oh, sugar on the limb, but let me in your bitter work. And I got sick of it overtime, overtime. Oh, I come back again. I don't know what's in it for me. It's not for guts or for glory, but I keep coming back and still you abuse everything that you use. No, it's awkward in twos, but you kept it for you. Oh, oh, oh. Are you better off now? Or are you still doing work? Sugar on the rim, but let me in your gin and work. And you never pay me overtime, overtime. Work. It's sugar on the rim, but let me in your bitter work. And I got sick of it overtime, overtime. Oh, 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 oh. You're just sugar on the rim, but let me in your gin and work. And you never pay me overtime, overtime. Oh, work. Oh, sugar on the rim, but let me in your bitter work. I get so sick of it overtime, overtime. It's work.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Taken
But
away.
it's such a cool vibe.
Thank you.
Yeah, Work is the name of the track. Work.
Mhm.
And that wasn't about you, girl. That
It
couldn't have
was.
been about you. It was. It was. Holy shit. 2 tracks, and
Yeah.
one of them's Work. Did she
Yeah.
slap your
Well,
face
I know,
when
right?
she heard
Yeah,
it?
more or less, more or less. Well, it was, and also about just like I feel that way about. Sorry, I feel that way the way the song is written, right? It's just feeling sort of overburdened by work, right? That's the idea, by a lot of things. So it was not strictly, but in part, sure, yeah.
Well, you guys do have a long distance relationship. And
A lot of work.
she's going to school for neuroscience. I imagine she's not. I'll tell you this, Jeepers, you don't have to worry. With somebody with that kind of, and she's probably taking 35 hours or something, who knows? Because they always do, those smart people. But you don't have to worry about her hitting the clubs or anything on a Friday night because, no,
That's
they don't
right.
do that,
Yeah.
you know?
No, none of that. In the books.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just keep
I used to
working.
be friends with a bunch of people who went to Berkeley out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think, oh man, they're going to Berkeley. These are the creme de la creme types, and they'll be fun to hang out. No, they were not fun at all because they never went out. They never did anything but work.
Yeah. I do have to self-admit that I am sort of that way too.
Yeah,
which
I was
is
going to say,
where it's how I get to where I'm at, but who knows? Who knows what's the right way to do things, right? Like prohibition, who knows?
Nightclubs are dying out anyway. I was just talking to a I know who used to own 7, and he's like, yeah, he goes, people don't socialize like that anymore.
It's a different world.
Yeah, he goes, you used to roll into the club, I remember, and you had your group of people, and right this way, Mr. Big here. He goes, kids aren't like that. If anything, that turns them off. They're intimidated by that. They're like, I don't want to be around this guy.
No, I would not. I would not.
Yeah,
it's not my vibe for sure.
I was talking to my wife about that too, and she's like, yeah, it's a different world, man. She goes, socially, sometimes people go to cons. Like she has a group of girls, and they're into cosplay, dress up like superheroes and shit, and go out, and that's great. I am not bitching about that. My inner 12-year-old is going. There's a group of people in my living room putting on tights and stuff and getting ready to go.
Exactly.
I'm like, yeah, I won the lottery there. Are you kidding?
Exactly.
Me? I would never go to a con. It's just not my thing. But she's like, yeah, they socialize there, or a different group of people. She goes and plays Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like,
classic. Yeah.
What am I, 12-year-old? And they keep wanting me to come.
Right,
and I'm like, and I read the new Dungeons. I'm like, this isn't Dungeons. There's robots in this. What?
That's
you
funny.
Insane?
I haven't played in a while. I haven't played in a while, but I did back in high school, and I always enjoyed it as somebody who's enjoyed being creative because it takes a lot of making up. It's like improv.
Absolutely.
So I always enjoyed it for that reason. That's fun.
I played until I was 12, and then I went to visit a family friend, and she had a neighbor. French kissed a girl for the first time, and suddenly my interest in Dungeons and Dragons.
No more.
Just, I had this group of guys that were all, we all played Dungeons and Dragons together.
Yep.
And they even confronted me. They're like, you don't even come to the meets anymore. You don't even want to play. I'm like, no, I don't. I want more of that French kissing stuff. That is way better than hanging out with you guys.
Exactly.
Casting spells.
But now your wife's playing Dungeons and Dragons, so let's see. That all turned around, huh?
It's true. It's true. I make them all cookies, and they all come and play. So
that's fun. That's super
they
fun.
did once. They actually have a comic book store that has tables. They have a big back room, apparently, and they have kids rent the space and play their guy. I thought that was pretty smart.
That's cool.
But yeah. So we got sidetracked. Work.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Jeez, and you sent this to her? You said, I made a track. Oh, you never have time to text me back?
That's right. I can't, honestly, it's been a little while. Don't know that I did. That might have just been, make this, I sent it to my music group. I said, here's this, worked on it until it was done, and it was out.
It's great, and you've got a great voice on it, a strong voice on it that fits. It fits. Yeah, that's the summer jam, man. I can see people playing. I'm picturing somebody in a convertible driving down 101
Summary. I love music that is feels that way. It's something that really is fun to me. I like enough sadder, slower music, but it's not what I want to make. Generally, there's some other stuff that I do make, but it's something that I just love so much. So I try to put more of it in the world because there can never have enough, right? Like it's fun to have more.
An interesting juxtaposition because the music, melodically, and the music part of it is so upbeat, and your voice is so upbeat, and it's like, There's this girl on YouTube. I watch her shorts, and She sings 90s and 80s songs in her car, makes a
Okay.
video of it. And as she's singing it, she's realizing what the words are actually saying. Like, and she
Hmm.
did, the last one I saw was she did Queen's Another One Bites the Dust. And
Yeah. Right. Okay.
she's like, this isn't
Yeah.
good at all. This is not a good story.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, like I said, it's so upbeat and it's so poppy and just cool. And then you listen to
Hmm.
the lyrics and you're like, being pretty harsh
Yeah.
on somebody here. There's
I love
some,
an oxymoron. You
yeah,
know.
it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's
Yeah.
definitely cool. I
Yeah.
and we've
It's
all
something.
known that girl,
Hmm.
James Louise. We've all known her at one time, or we've been that person. You
Sure.
know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I do have to say a lot of the things that I write are about myself. So even if it's inspired by somebody, I think I do tend to write about things that sort of annoy myself about myself, even if I do see that in other people. So it becomes sort of a glue, an amalgamation of the things that I experience. So it's never truly about, I mean, other than lavender, it's never truly about one thing, one person.
I gotcha.
It's
I
about an
gotcha.
emotion, I guess.
Well, and it's relatable though, and that's I think, especially with pop music, that it's such an important part. And I'm not saying Taylor Swift is not related. I think a big part of her success is, you know, everybody always jokes, it's a trope. Oh, she sings about breakups, and you know,
Hmm.
you ever notice, folks? There's a lot of 14, 15-year-old girls that are think
Going
she
through
can
breakups.
walk on
Yeah.
water,
Yeah.
and they're all going through that first hard. That first one is rough, baby.
Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah.
who you
She
are.
sure is. Yes, it is.
And here's somebody that
Absolutely.
understands. Know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or at least
Hmm.
has also been through
Right.
that.
Right.
And
Can sympathize, empathize.
yeah, and it's there's just
Absolutely.
something to keep in mind, musicians out there, when you're making stuff. I always joke with my musician friends. I'm like, you know, have you heard Europe's The Final Countdown? I'm sure you have. If you've ever been to a sporting event,
Hmm.
why don't you think about making an anthem? You know,
Hmm.
of something, and those people get a check every time that's played.
I know.
So it might not be a bad investment.
Yeah, to try and make it. So making it's a little harder than thinking about it, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess.
Making something that crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then,
if I could write Bohemian Rhapsody, I think I would. But
yeah, and then that's another thing. During the pandemic, I started watching these reaction videos, and it was so great to
hmm.
see these young urban guys insert
Hmm.
black rappers and stuff, and they had never heard Bohemian Rhapsody, and they play
Hmm.
it and film the reaction,
That's
and they're
fun.
listening to the lyrics, and they're like,
Yeah.
"This guy's
Right.
gangster as fuck." Are you kidding? You know, like
Yeah. It's true. It's
it
true.
was amazing.
That's
Um,
funny.
but I like it. I like work. I was listening to it
Thank
the
you.
other day. I was in here doing what I do, painting away,
Hmm.
and my dog, my crazy dog, comes in here, and she's not a
Hmm.
jumper. She doesn't jump up on people or anything like
Yeah.
that. But she jumped up on me because, and then I looked at the time. I'm like, and I'm listening to the song. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, you need some attention. I've been in here
Yeah.
for 6 hours
Yeah.
straight.
That's funny. Yeah.
I
That's
get
very
it.
funny. That's great. That's
Let me
adorable.
stop. Uh,
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you appreciate it. I'm glad that you like it. That's very nice.
it's awesome, and
Thank
lavender's
you.
just as good too. So
Thank you.
it's
I appreciate that too.
you know, you're hitting them out of the park. You're hitting them out of the park.
I try my best. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, it's definitely cool. And now let me ask you this:
Hmm.
because of your process and whatnot, does that make you think there'll be any like live shows supporting these, or do you think
I
you'll
would love
keep it?
to. I mean, the issue is finding places to play live, but I play quite a few open mics to sort of test this stuff out. I am actually playing a live show in LA this Saturday on the first
Oh,
a breaking sound show. It's just a 20-minute acoustic set. I'm excited about
oh,
it though.
that's great. It's
Yeah, at
fantastic.
Rudolph's Tea Bar, I think it's called.
Very
Uh,
cool.
so I'm excited for that, but I'm hoping to just keep meeting people and getting more opportunities to play because I have all the music. I play by myself for now. I would love to have a
Mhm.
band to play with, but
Yeah, you know, and that
exactly, right?
gets to be a
And
drag. But the cool
exactly.
thing, well, one of the things that sucks too is I'm not in the music business. I go to a lot of shows, hung out in that
Hmm.
world a long time.
Hmm.
I'm not a big fan of LA's pay to play. They're like, here's
Yeah,
200
man.
tickets you're responsible for, and
Yep.
somebody's paying for them. Hopefully, it won't be you if you get out
Exactly.
and And you're like, oh, I got so much free time. Let me go hustle some tickets to
Exactly.
somebody that they're not familiar with yet.
Mhm.
It's hard because all of my marketing's been on a global scale. You know, it's
Yeah.
great if I was playing in New Zealand where I'm
Yeah,
real
right,
big in New
exactly.
Zealand or something.
Sure, right.
But no, I get it. The best venues I've seen city-wise was in Vegas, where Vegas is a weird scene because they're 24 hours, most venues.
Mhm.
But there's no door charge because they can't charge a door cover because they're competing
Yeah,
because
right.
Aerosmith is playing down the street at
Yep.
MGM or something,
Yeah,
or
right, exactly.
Tiesto's here or something. You're competing
Yeah.
against that. So there's usually not a cover charge. So how does the band get paid? What they do that I saw, and this is a couple years ago, so this could be different now. They'll run a Z tape at the beginning of the person's set. Well, first off, the
Mhm.
person will say, "Come see me play. I'm playing from 3:30 to 4:30 a.m." It's the
Yep.
weirdest
Yeah, right.
things.
That's
Take
funny.
a nap, you get up, get your
Yeah.
groove together, and go see
Yeah,
your
make
friend.
it work. Make it work.
Yeah, but so they run a tape at the beginning of their set, and they said,
Mhm.
"Okay, here's where the bar is." Then they run a tape at the end of their set, and they said, "You get 15% of this, or whatever
Interesting,
the
yeah.
deal
Yeah,
is."
right. Sure.
But I liked that because I'm
That's
like,
cool.
well,
That is
there's
cool.
no question,
Mhm.
and
Right, nothing
and
up
they
front.
haven't. At the time, there was none of this nonsense of merch fees or any of that kind of
Mhm.
bullshit,
Mhm.
um, which I think is ridiculous. But
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
I've known too many bands that that's how they got gas to get home.
Yeah.
Was money
Right,
from the merch
exactly.
table,
Right, right. Uh,
saved me having to go get them. Uh,
yeah,
that that happens, but it's
absolutely.
part of it. It's part of it. But you've done real well.
Thank you.
Will continue to do so. That's my prediction. I
I
can't
appreciate
wait.
that. That's very, very kind.
Now, do you think you'll have another single drop before the album drops?
I sure do, yeah. And I
Nice.
can tell you exactly when and what it is if you'd like.
Absolutely.
Sure. Let me pull up a calendar. The single's called Fine Line. I'm very, very proud of it. It's actually of the tracks on the album, it's the oldest one. As far from I wrote two of them before Fine Line, but they didn't get like sort of fully finished and recorded till pretty significantly after. All right, I believe it's March 7th. That I think that is the date.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
March
well. I'm going to
7th.
be emailing Amanda. I know
Yeah.
she doesn't like having guests that quick back on the show,
Mhm.
but I'll sweet talk. I don't know.
We'll
Next,
figure it
now
out.
that I know she's coming to Florida every so
That's
often,
right.
I'll
Yeah,
pick up her
exactly.
dry cleaning or something. Do what I got to do. And
Right.
folks, if you're looking for a good PR firm, I don't know how it works. I'm not in that business, but do whatever you got to do. Get a hold. You want them in your corner.
They're wonderful.
And
They're great.
usually, how that type of stuff works is you send them a check, and they earn theirs if
Mhm.
that's how they do it. I don't even know if they
Mhm.
do it.
It is. Yeah.
They may
Yeah.
just VIP Studio 54 it and say, "Yeah, we'll
Mhm.
represent you." No, not you. You in the back. You look cool.
Right. Right.
No, I don't think they could if they wanted to.
They
They really,
probably could. Yeah.
yeah,
But a little more the former. A little more the former.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
they're wonderful. I agree.
Um, well, very cool. Well, very cool. Well,
Mhm.
you're really, and I say this with a lot of sincerity, you're really good at what you do. So I hope
Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate that.
keep doing it. If you ever wake up one morning and you're in your feels and saying, "I don't want to do it today,"
Mhm.
there's a cat in South Florida that hopes you do, and I'm going to be going because obviously you are going to be doing this. When I have those days, I'm going to be going. Well, hell, Jeepers is doing it, so get out of bed, Jamie. Come on, let's go.
That's right. I'll
Uh,
go right back at you then. Right back at you.
yeah, I was doing something the other day. I was in here. I
Mhm.
don't know. I was watching YouTube shorts or something
Mhm.
not productive, something that
Yep.
doesn't make me any money.
Right.
And the wife came in, just got the electric bill, and the wife came in. She goes, "Hey, are you going to paint today?" And that's when I
Mhm.
know a bigger bill came in.
Yeah.
Damn it, we've been running the AC.
Yeah.
And yeah, dear, I'm going to paint today and
Mhm.
knock something out that afternoon just so we could,
Exactly.
you
Can
know,
pay it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
it's again, she works me. She works me.
Mhm. Mhm. That's so funny.
Man, but yeah, it's how it is. Well,
Yeah.
that's cool. Now, is the whole album going to be this cool vibe that you got going on with these two tracks, or a similar
Yeah.
vein?
Similar for
Nice,
sure. Yeah. I think you'll
nice.
like it. If you like those first two, I think you'll like it. I am hugely influenced. You mentioned it before we started recording, but I'm hugely influenced by the sounds of the 70s. And I've got there's some funk in there. There's a lot of 70s rock, yacht rock. I love the Doobie Brothers. There's plenty of that. And
That shit, man. My
yeah.
father, he not only was into yacht rock,
Hmm.
he bought a yacht, and then he was really into yacht rock.
Yeah. Got to rock on the yacht.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, there are 70s tracks when I've had different things happen in my life that relatability thing. I'm like,
Yeah, man.
what? Rage Against the Machine doesn't have a clue on what I'm dealing with right now.
That's true, right?
you
But
know,
electric light up, yellow, they
you
got you.
know, I'm telling you, yeah, telephone, yeah, man,
Yeah, man.
and it's yeah. My father was very musical. He always had music, and he wasn't a musician, but he just always
Just
had
loved
it
it. Yeah,
on.
sure.
And it's so funny. My father-in-law cracks up. He's like, "How do you Sullivan's Alone? That was a big hit in Scotland, I think. How do you
Hmm.
were aware?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I listened.
Yeah,
That shit was constant.
right. That's funny.
But not just yacht rock.
Yeah.
You grow up in Detroit, you're into Motown and shit. You have to be,
Absolutely.
and then
But all
techno,
of
and
it.
yeah.
But yeah.
And I like that '70s vibe though because, and you're seeing it a little bit. You're seeing it slip into the zeitgeist a little bit.
Hmm.
My whole thing is following trends. I can spot a trend like 50 yards.
Hmm.
I'm seeing it and I'm incorporating it. I'm hearing musicians like you.
Hmm.
And I just did a painting, I don't know, a month ago that
Hmm.
sold in like 30 minutes.
Wow.
Um,
Good for you.
yeah, and I was listening to Rupert Hines, the Pina Colada song. That
Classic.
was the inspiration because I hadn't heard Jeepers yet, folks. Look for the
That's
word
right.
painting
That's right.
coming.
That's right.
Um,
That's funny.
Jesus Christ. But
Yeah.
yeah, I even titled the painting
It's a
that,
great.
she likes
The
Pina Coladas or something.
That's
And
funny.
yeah, she had the big round glasses that were
Yep.
kind of a
Hmm.
yellowed, orangey tint to them.
Hmm.
And yeah, somebody in Dallas, Texas bought that immediately and then
Ah,
bought several more.
that's
Um,
awesome. That's cool.
yeah, so it's the weird thing in my business is I have different groups that different types of collectors.
Hmm.
So some abstract. I
Yeah.
haven't painted an abstract in a week or two, so I had to do
Hmm.
that. So they're happy. So I'm
Yeah.
not hearing them grumbling. Um,
Hmm.
and then I got a whole bunch of horror people.
Oh,
I had one
interesting.
guy that I was concerned for because
Yeah.
I'm like, is this guy a serial killer? Man,
Right.
what he wants me to
Loves
paint
it.
is
Yeah.
a little too,
Hmm.
I don't want
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
FBI coming to me,
Yeah. Right.
look at a
Exactly.
painting in a buried storage or ship
Uh-huh.
trailer.
Uh-huh.
So I got the horror people, so there's a lot of
Yeah.
vampires with that, but it's different stuff.
Hmm.
And then I kind of known for my glamorous women up to no good.
Hmm.
Paint which I lived a
Very much.
fast,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
just like
That's yeah.
you're
Well, it's nice
making
to have
music with
different.
what.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. It's nice to have the different arms. I have a huge respect for so many genres of music. I love the 70s, but I love like 2000s alternative. I love
Mhm.
Vampire Weekend. I'm sure that comes across. I
Yeah, I
really
didn't
love
expect to hear
Phoenix.
that.
Yeah, all of that. I love 2010s pop music, which is some of that synth work, but also the funk stuff like
Mm.
Parliament and Funkadelic, but also some of the more modern funk stuff.
Bruno Mars, like the
Yeah,
rise
true.
of
Yeah,
Bruno Mars,
absolutely. That's right.
and he wasn't the only one, but there was
Hmm.
there was a lot of Lady Gaga was kind of flirting with some of that, and
Yep.
it was it's interesting. And your generation, I have so much respect for that. You guys are multi-genre interested. I've seen your
Hmm.
playlists.
Hmm.
It amazes me. I don't because you're kind of single driven,
Hmm.
whereas like my old ass, it was all albums, and we
Right.
were very genre.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had groups of friends that I hung out with that was all metal growing up,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I would sneak home and put on some Duran Duran. If word ever got out that I was jamming to that or whatever,
Yeah.
Oh, I
Right.
remember one time I went to a concert and you went to a Duran Duran. I said, well, yeah, this gal I was with, she wanted,
Mhm.
I had that conversation just to,
Right.
I
To
took a
protect
gal
yourself from
to a
that. Yeah.
concert, not because she was into the band, but I was
Yeah.
into the band and
Right. Right.
I needed the cover. It's very,
That's crazy. Oh yeah.
when you're 15, the things you do. But,
Exactly.
anyhow, Jeepers, my little thing's going off. I know I kept you longer than I'm
It's
supposed to,
okay.
but
It's all right.
you're fascinating, man. You're
I appreciate
fascinating.
that. That's nice. It was nice to talk to you. I really had a great time. Thank you.
Absolutely. And folks, that's going to
Yeah.
wrap it up for us. Remember, the world's still a weird place full of weird people. Be patient with people. Be kind to people. And all the links to Jeepers is below us. And like I said, it's probably flying around the screen as we speak. Support independent artists and musicians and filmmakers and stuff. I think the lesson we all learned during the pandemic, we all ran out of shit to watch on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So we were watching all this crazy stuff on YouTube and whatnot and Tubi and things.
That's right.
These independent artists got us through, baby,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And if you want something that sounds fresh and cool and you have something to play at your parties, add Jeepers to your playlist.
Thank you.
And if you got somebody's email, you can always send them a track. I'm saying, who knows? Work may resonate with you on an individual level.
Mm-hmm.
Send her that single, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that,
That's
but
right.
it may be a
It
good
might be a
thing.
little harsh, but
It may
maybe. I
not
don't
be.
know.
No,
Yeah, who
it's
knows?
a great song, folks.
Thank you.
We played that up way more than, but it's lyrically it's there.
It's a little harsh.
Okay, we'll see you next time. Be cool, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
This has been pop art painter Jamie Roxx's Pop Rocks Radio Talk Show. It has been executive produced by Jamie Roxx, recorded at his studio in Deerfield Beach in South Florida. All rights reserved by Pop Rocks Limited. Hannah Oli, Pop Rocks Radio. Estás escuchando Jamie Roxx de Pop Rocks Radio. Manténganse al tanto.
Hej, det här är Hicks från Sverige och ni lyssnar till Pop Rocks Radio med Jamie Roxx.